We all know the story, right? The lone hero, the solitary traveler on an impossible quest. But have you ever stopped to wonder, what happens after the credits roll? What about the family that hero left behind? Well, today we're diving into one of literature's most overlooked sequels to find out.
And it's a question we almost never get our answer to. The hero makes it to the celestial city, the day is saved, and we just assume it's happily ever after for everyone. But John Bunyan, the author of The Pilgrim's Progress, he decided that just wasn't the full picture. So he went all the way back to the city of destruction to answer that exact question.
So Bunyan's answer? It comes in the form of a brand new protagonist, Christiana, who was the wife of Christian, our original hero. And The Pilgrim's Progress Part 2 isn't just a retelling, it's a whole new pilgrimage, looking at faith and salvation from a completely different angle.
What's so fascinating, right from the get-go, is how different this is from the first story. Christian's journey was lonely, a solitary struggle. But Christiana's, it begins with family and community. She, her 4 sons, and her friend Mercy decide to follow in Christian's footsteps. Right from the start, this is a shared quest.
As you'd probably expect, the road to the celestial city is never a walk in the park. Christiana and her group find themselves in familiar places, but their trials are unique, testing them in ways they never could have seen coming.
And their first major test is a classic, the Slough of Despond. Now, anyone who's read the first book knows this place. It's that infamous swamp of doubt and discouragement that can just swallow a pilgrim whole before their journey even really gets started. Of course, the Slough of Despond isn't a literal mud pit. It's an allegory for that crushing feeling of hopelessness that makes you want to just give up. For Bunyan, this is the first and maybe the most dangerous spiritual trap you can fall into. But here's where things get interesting. Their experience is different from Christians. Instead of just sinking, they're confronted by this angry dog at the gate. It's a small detail, yeah, but it shows that the allegorical landscape might be the same, but the challenges are kind of custom-made for the traveler. They actually need help, a moment of mercy just to move forward. And then, the journey takes a really dangerous turn. One of Christiana's sons, Matthew, does something foolish. He steals some fruit from the devil's garden. And this one mistake kicks off a whole chain reaction. It exposes the group to new physical dangers, like thugs on the road. But it also causes Matthew to get deathly ill, not from poison, but from a spiritual sickness. It's a really stark lesson. One person's slip-up can put the entire community in jeopardy. And as they push forward, these inner struggles start to become, well, real. The internal battles they're fighting against doubt and despair begin to show up as actual physical threats. They have to fight literal monsters, and each one is basically a physical form of an inner demon. So, their first big showdown is with a giant named Maul in the Valley of Humiliation. Now, this isn't just some fantasy fight scene. It's a test of their collective courage and their faith. And by working together, they bravely take him down, proving they're getting stronger along the way. Bunyan really leans into this idea when the group comes face to face with Giant Despair, who is maybe the most famous villain from the whole series. He isn't just a monster, he is the physical manifestation of hopelessness. For these pilgrims, defeating him means conquering that feeling inside themselves. But here's the best part. Their victory isn't just for them. They don't just escape. They actually destroy Giant Despair's castle, freeing all the other pilgrims he had trapped. This just hammers home one of the central themes of this story. Your spiritual victories can literally set other people free. And that really brings us to the single biggest difference between Christian's journey and Christiana's. While he walked so much of the path by himself, her story is all about the growing community that forms around her.
First up, and probably the most important, is Greatheart. He's this warrior and guide sent to protect them. You can think of him as that mentor or protector figure, the guide you absolutely need when the going gets tough.
Later on, another fighter joins them, Valiant for Truth. And yeah, as his name kind of gives away, he's all about embodying the virtue of standing firm in what you believe. Each new person they meet adds another layer of strength to their group. And the fellowship just keeps on growing. They meet Honest, an old pilgrim, Gaius, a man who gives them shelter, and even characters named Feeble-Mind and Ready to Halt, who represent the weak and struggling people who are welcomed and supported by the community. This isn't a journey for spiritual superheroes, right? It's for absolutely everyone.
So when you put it all together, what Christiana's journey gives us is this much broader, more inclusive vision of faith. It's not about one man's lonely struggle, but about how a whole community, a family, can lift each other up on the path to salvation.
Now, it's super easy to think of John Bunyan as a one-hit wonder, but The Pilgrim's Progress was just the tip of the iceberg. His other books explore this huge range of theological ideas, creating a really rich and complex literary world.
Take the Holy War, for instance. It expands that idea of an internal battle into an entire city representing the human soul. Or the barren fig tree, which warns against having a faith that doesn't produce good actions. He was a writer with incredible depth, and all of these different themes just add more layers to the journey we're seeing with Christiana.
So let's bring it all back to Christiana and her family. After all those trials, those battles, and all the moments of friendship, they're finally getting close to the end of their quest.
And you know, unlike so many heroic stories that end in tragedy, Christiana's journey ends with peace. She completes her pilgrimage, and she's welcomed into the celestial city. Her success, along with her entire diverse group, is really Bunyan's final point. The path of faith and grace is open to everybody, no matter who you are.
So in the end, Christiana's story is way more than just some forgotten sequel. It's a powerful reminder that no one makes it through their biggest challenges alone. And that leaves us with one last thought. For you, when you look at your own life, your own journeys and struggles, who are the people who act as your guides and your protectors? Who are your great hearts?